Check, check, check. Audio check. Hello. Good. We can hear ourselves. We're live. Welcome back on this NFL, AFC, NFC championship weekend. And we're getting close to championship weekend on our end as we got, and you can see the title of the stream or the replay if you are watching on YouTube. This potentially could be the worst game in the history of college football. We'll see how it turns out. Number 1 in the nation, 10-0 Utah, that's us, going up against 0-10 Kansas in a Big 12 conference battle. And 10-0 is at home, and we are down to the final 2 games of the regular season. We're only going to be playing this game here today. We're not going to do 2 like we've been doing in the past because it is championship weekend in the NFL, and 2.5 hours, that would be too long. That would put us right up until the start of the championship game. So we're going to play the one game so that way you folks can get all ready to go home to your family, all that fun stuff. We're going to send out a tweet real quick on Twitter. I always encourage the people, if you're not following us on Twitter, that is where you're going to know when we go live. That is the best place to know when we're planning on streaming, when we're going live. We always send out a tweet when we go live, and we usually will always send out a tweet about an hour or so beforehand saying, hey, we're going live at this time. Before we jump into this game as well, Patreon, TB Sports 27 over on Patreon. We have uploaded 4 new videos and 1 new stat book. So, new content, an hour's worth of content, and a stat book. We uploaded the final 2 episodes that we have of the original Denver Broncos franchise for Madden 12. The entire regular season of Season 11 is now complete. I don't have any of the playoff runs or any of the stuff after that. That was all deleted in the great YouTube purge of 2021. If any of you guys have access to that and would be able to pass it along, I'll gladly take it. Please let me know. Send me a message on Twitter or Twitch or Patreon or wherever. But the entire Denver Broncos Madden 12 franchise run that we had access to, which is over 48 episodes, I believe it ended up being, that is all up on Patreon now. So if you wanted to relive those old episodes, go check it out. We put 1 episode up for free on YouTube, and that was the big comeback against the Atlanta Falcons. They're used to letting that happen a lot. We also uploaded the first 2 episodes. Now we're on to our next re-upload. We have uploaded a very popular series, one that people loved, the original BCS playoffs, the 2012 season. We uploaded the selection show from the 2012 season and the first game, which was Florida State taking on Louisville in the Beef O'Brady's Bowl. This was out of 2012. And I've talked about, I've kind of contemplated, that was one of my more popular series. Now we actually do have a college football playoff, but I kind of go back and forth if people would like to see another 32-team playoff. The issue, I don't know if I can do it here because I don't think people are uploading the roster. I know there's like the college football revamped games that are out, which are really cool, but you have to have a modded Xbox, and I'd have to ship my Xbox off and wait for it to get modded and sent back and all that stuff. It's, and pay the hundreds of dollars that costs. So maybe when the new game comes out and when people can presumably upload roster updates pretty easily, we'll revisit the BCS playoffs, maybe give you guys a 32-team playoff and comment on it and do play-by-play if that's something you guys want to see. But the final 2 episodes of the Denver Broncos franchise that we had uploaded to Patreon, the first 2 episodes of the 2012 BCS playoffs, including the selection show, and the entire Season 1 stat book from our Revolution Pro Legends League that we played with All Pro Football 2K8. Again, that footage got lost due to the YouTube situation, but we have the stat book because I write all that stuff down. I don't have the stats for every single game for Season 1. I didn't start keeping that till halfway through the season, but all the scores are there and the stats for the entire second half of the season. The entire Season 1 stat book, if you want to relive those memories from All Pro Football 2K8, that's up there. And we still have the Season 2, Season 3, and Season 4 stat book that we will upload. We never finished Season 5. We started like the first 4 weeks of Season 5 on All Pro 2K8, and that was before I got the capture card for the Xbox that we're obviously using now to play this, we ended up just switching over to Madden and doing like the relocation. So that's almost like the precursor to that. You know, we put the original stat book up for the SFL. There was like 13 seasons, and then we went to All Pro 2K8, and we can almost say that we retooled it, or we went out of business like every other small league, and now we got the RXFL, which we will be returning to at some point down the line. We're going to finish up college football, and then we're going to finish up the baseball season, and we want to get back into hockey and try to wrap that up. But we're going to be doing a lot of hockey and NFL, the Denver Broncos franchise, and we'll mix in some RXFL, of course. So before we jump into this, I just realized when we ended the last stream, we were supposed to look at the bowl projections, and we never did. And again, these are all going to be mixed up because we have the Horizons mod, which will allow us to make the college football playoffs. So that means the Peach Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl are going to look wildly different as well. And we also have to put the best group of, what do we have? The group of four, best group of four team in one of the big New Year's Six bowls as well. But this is what it's looking like so far, as we'll thumb down the line here. Michigan and Colorado State in the points table. With Colorado State, we roughed them up early on this season. That was the dud stream where our capture did not work out very well. USC and Old Dominion going to Tampa. That's interesting. Rice and Lafayette. We have Utah State and Arizona in the Mako Bowl, Las Vegas, Hawaii Bowl, Texas State, and West Virginia. It's interesting, you're not seeing a lot of local teams in these bowl games. There's a lot of teams from really far off traveling. This is a local one. You got an Illinois team and a Michigan team in the Little Caesars Bowl. Northwestern, I bet they're maybe looking a little disappointed at this early projection. 16th ranked squad playing a middle-of-the-pack MAC team. We'll see how that all turns out. Nevada and Maryland early on projected for the Military Bowl, Holiday Bowl, Oregon and Missouri. That could be a good one. We have Syracuse and Clemson projected for the Belk Bowl, the Independence Bowl, Louisville and Auburn, a couple of 7 and 6 win teams respectively. The Russell Athletic Bowl, FIU out of the ACC, and the Pac-16's Cal. We have the Meineke Car Care Bowl, North Texas and Minnesota, and that's one where Minnesota's probably sitting there at 7 and 3, ranked number 8. Wondering why are we playing a Big 12 school that's 5 and 5. So we'll see how that one ends up. Notre Dame and UTSA in the Armed Forces Bowl. Notre Dame, another high-ranked team. Army, fresh off their national championship appearance 2 seasons ago. They're in the Kraft Fight Hunger Bowl, or projected to be. These are just all projections, remember. They are projected to be in the Fight Hunger Bowl with Stanford. And we're not going to do this for every week. We're going to do this here, and we'll probably do it before we go into the Texas game, the Big 12 championship. We'll look at it again because, again, a lot of these bowls are going to look different because part of how the Horizon mod works, if you're not aware, is you have to delete 2 of the teams. So we usually take 2 of the 6 and 6 teams and delete them out. So you lose a bowl game to be able to make that happen. And then you have to obviously modify the Peach Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl to be 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3, and so on and so forth. So there's some modifications that have to be done too, and they also have an 8-team playoff too, and I think I've talked about this in past streams. I've toyed around with the idea of doing the 8-team stream where it's just straight up the 6 conference champions as well as 2 wild cards get in, but we haven't gone to that yet. I still kind of like the idea of doing the 4-team playoff, and it seems a lot more involved too of trying to modify to get 8 in there, but we'll see as we go on with this. Oklahoma and Oregon State, Alamo Bowl, a couple of highly rated teams there. We got Central Michigan and Colorado, a couple of 7 and 3 squads. Music City Bowl, Florida State and Memphis. Boise State and Wake Forest in the Sun Bowl. Alabama and SMU, that would probably be a good battle, good chance for SMU to get a highly conference opponent. But SMU, if they win out here, if they finish with their 11-and-run record, they're going to be the New Year's Six representative. So they're probably going to end up in a different bowl. We do just like they do in real life, the highest ranked group of 4 team. We have the Power 6 and the group of 4 because we made the Big East, or we just now renamed it the Big East, but the American in this game ended up being so powerful they became a Power 6 again with Navy and Army and pretty much sending a team to the championship almost many years. You can look at those old stat books as well on Patreon to see how the American grew to be a power conference. But Virginia Tech, Ole Miss, Arizona, and Wisconsin, Heart of Dallas Bowl, Southern Miss, which is an SEC team, and Indiana. That'd be a good game in the Gator Bowl. Capital One Bowl, that's a strong one too. Michigan State and Florida, a couple of ranked squads. The Outback Bowl, Penn State and South Carolina. Penn State, after potentially being in the BCS, the college football playoff at 9-0, they dropped their game to Ohio State, and they're still hoping that after the Big 12 championship is done, however that turns out, that they might be able to sneak back into the college football playoff. The projected Rose Bowl is Navy and Iowa, so Navy out of the Big East and Iowa out of the Big 10, so that's interesting there that Navy would get that bid to go to the Rose Bowl rather than a Pac-12 team. The Fiesta Bowl, which this is not what it would end up being because this is going to be one of the college football playoff games, but you see USF and Fresno, number 4 and number 3. Obviously, it's going to be 4 against 1 and 3 against 2. The Sugar Bowl, Tennessee and Georgia Tech. That would be a good one as Tennessee trying to make their resurgence. It's been a while since Tennessee's been a dominant force in college football. Georgia Tech played in the national championship the last handful of years. The Orange Bowl, Ohio State and Miami. Could be interesting. Miami was in the college football playoff last season, and Ohio State's won the national title here a couple of years ago. The Cotton Bowl, Nebraska and Mississippi State, also looking like a good matchup there. The BBVA Compass Bowl, Georgia and Purdue. You have the GoDaddy Bowl there in Mobile, Florida Atlantic and Temple, a couple of 7-win squads. And the national championship, they're projecting Utah and Texas. Obviously, that is not going to happen because we got to play each other in the Big 12 championship game. I wonder what the game would do, because if we kept it where we did the BCS, if we played in the Big 12 title game and then played again, like rematch. So the Chick-fil-A Bowl, which is the Peach Bowl, is the other game that would change due to that being part of the college football playoff, but we can always put Virginia Tech and Ole Miss anywhere else. So that's early projections, but let's get into it. You guys have been waiting patiently, and we're going to jump into what some folks are saying could potentially be the worst game in the history of college football as the number 1 ranked 10-0 Utah Utes, and we're going to wear the all-red. We're going to break from tradition, and we're going to wear the all-red against Kansas. Normally when we switch from our uniforms, we do poorly. We got blue and we got white. I like the blue. What unis we got here? Not a lot of options for K-State. We got blue, gray. Let's see. We'll shuffle it up here. See what it lands on. And no whammies. And stop at big bucks. It's gray, so we'll put them in the gray. And the white. What about a helmet? No whammies. Stop. White. So white and gray. Okay, we'll go with that for K-State. So here we go. This is a very young... I said K-State, my God. Sorry again for the Kansas State people. This is Kansas, the Kansas Jayhawks. Kansas, a very young squad. The number of seniors starting on this roster, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seniors starting on this squad. The entire receiving core is all made up of sophomores. The quarterbacking group is led by a junior. The backup is a senior, so not even starting. So technically only 4 seniors are starting. So you can look at that one of two ways. This team is 0-10 with the potential to make a run late as their guys get more experience, or it's just an inexperienced, not good bunch here. No injuries to report on, though. Let's see. Actually, we do have injuries. It just took a while to load. Look at that. A couple of guys out. They are out of there. And we have nobody visiting here. So, again, you're looking at a team that's 114th in the nation, averaging only 21 points a game, going up against the defense that's number 1 in the nation, only allowing an average of 9 points a game. Look at our defense. The passing is the only weak point, and you call it a weak point at 13th. Everything else we pretty much dominate at. So Kansas 0-10, Utah 10-0. Here we go, Big 12 action, and then the regular season finale will be coming up. It will be Utah going up against Colorado, the rivalry game, the between us and Colorado, and there you see the standings. Nebraska hoping that we slip up, where maybe they'd be able to sneak in, but we already beat Nebraska. In fact, we beat all these teams, so Nebraska wouldn't have a chance. The only way that we don't make the Big 12 championship is if we lose twice and Colorado wins out. You have to imagine Colorado at they would be 7-2, and with them having a win over us, they would get into the Big 12 championship game against Texas, which I think a lot of conference and committee members would be a little upset at, the fact that they would have this big game on the horizon and Colorado would sneak in. The Big 12 championships always had a interesting history. It's from day one you've had top-ranked teams ended up losing in that game. I mean, you know, the Colorados of the past and the Oklahomas and Kansas States and Texas A&M. We've had a lot of top-ranked teams end up losing in the Big 12 championship game and messing things up. So here we go at Rice-Eccles, Kansas and Utah. We will we'll see how out of control this gets, or it could be like the Arizona Cardinals and we're going to receive it just to start. It could be like the Arizona Cardinals and the Detroit Lions this season in the NFL, where it ends up being a big shocker. So we'll see. This home game, fans expecting a big blowout here, and Newton is going to bring that one up to just past the 25. Bill Bradford, 5 touchdowns. I believe he had a receiving touchdown, too. He's just a sophomore. So hoping that we have him for at least one more year. We're usually able to talk our guys into coming back when they want to leave for the pros early on. So Andrew Cross, your starting quarterback here for the Utes. There's the give to Bradford, and a decent pickup on the first run. One of the few seniors, Mike Seals, making that stop. Bill Bradford, he's looking to break over 1,000 yards rushing this season, which would be big business for him. Hoping to do that right here against Kansas. 2nd and 6 for the Utes. Cross, quick throw out to Jerome Perry, 11 yards, and the first down for Utah. Number 1 in the nation, 10-0, taking on this 0-10 Jayhawks squad. We got a score alert, so let's see what we got going on. Penn State and Michigan State, they got a high-scoring battle going on, but I don't think it's going to go too well for Michigan State. And Jermaine Cox for 11. Starting off about as well as we could have imagined so far, all positive. Georgia Tech and Miami. That's a big game coming up at the bottom there. Big ACC implications, and could be college football playoff implications, because a lot of these 2-loss teams are going to be sitting there waiting if a lot of these teams slip up ahead of them, or wondering how this Utah-Texas thing ends up. I think if the game ends up like a big blowout, then whoever loses probably doesn't make the playoffs. But I think if it's close, the committee, as that one got knocked away, the committee might end up putting Utah and Texas both in the college football playoff, despite having a loss, despite having just played each other, which would be the first time in college football playoff history for us that would happen. So that 2 teams that just played each other in the regular season would end up going to the playoffs regardless. Every game matters, right? That used to always be the big thing for the BCS. They used to always say every game matters, and then they would have a situation like, I remember as a Boise State fan, they say every game matters. The year that Boise State beat Virginia Tech week 1, Boise State finished the season 11-1 and went to the Las Vegas Bowl with a win over Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech finished the season 10-2 with losses to Boise State and James Madison. And Virginia Tech got to go to an Orange Bowl. Boise State went to the Las Vegas Bowl. And that was, I remember sitting there, that was a big to-do where everyone was like, oh yeah, every game matters. And us Broncos fans were like, does it really though? Because we won and had the better record and didn't lose to an FCS team. And yet we're going to Vegas. Meanwhile, they're going to the Orange Bowl. So the Kansas defense, though, they're holding tough, and it's going to be 3rd down and 7, so another 3rd down. It has not been an easy. I mean, we are moving the ball, but it's not like we're just doing it at will here on this Jayhawks defense. They pitch it out to Bradford, and there goes Bradford down to the 15. It'll be a long day for the Jayhawks if they keep letting that happen. Andrew Cross, 5 of 7, 54 yards on this drive. Utah breaking out the all-red. Wide open is Zach Smith. And he will be wrestled down. 9-yard pickup for Smith. This is where we usually have a hard time getting in the end zone. The red zone opportunities for the Utes. Let's see if against an 0-10 squad we can actually get in there. And it will be Aaron Price, and it will be a touchdown. So 10-0, strikes early. Opening drive, take it right down the field and score. How many plays is that? That's about 9 or 10 play drive. We finish it off with Aaron Price coming in, getting the score. And Kansas finding themselves looking. It was an 11-play, 70-yard drive for our top-ranked team in the nation. We got a score update. Go to the studio, and we have an upset. Arkansas, who we beat up on earlier this year, knocks off Mississippi State. So they were projected to go to the Cotton Bowl, Mississippi State, to play. That might knock them out of contention because Cotton Bowl, one of the New Year's Six bowls. And that will potentially open the door for maybe a Florida to get another New Year's Six bid if Tennessee keeps playing well. If they finish 10-2, Tennessee's probably going to get that Sugar Bowl bid. But Florida, they have a chance to sneak up and overtake Mississippi State and maybe get that Cotton Bowl bid from them. So we'll see how things play out there. Here comes your Kansas Jayhawks, led by junior quarterback Justin Brooks, starting off in the gun. And Brooks, he's got more interceptions than he does touchdowns on the year, but he completes the first pass out to Michael Sims for 6 yards. So an early successful start for the 0-10 Kansas Jayhawks in this Big 12 action. They got trips set out on the left-hand side. It's a play fake, and they go to the left-hand side, and Alex James, is going to juke forward and get the first down for the Jayhawks. So it's not been a complete disaster yet. They're hyping this up as maybe one of the worst college football one-sided matchups of all time. So far, it took us 11 plays to score, and they got a first down and wide open. My goodness, John Miller left open. So let's not, this is looking more like the Cardinals and the Lions and less like the big blowout we were all expecting. A perfect 3 for 3 so far for Justin Brooks, running all of his plays out of the gun. And Brooks will hand it off to Miller, who caught that pass just a few moments ago. And that is going to slow down. There's nothing worse, right? If you're a fan of a team, they got all the momentum going, and they bust out a play like that, gets stopped, and all the momentum slows up. So they definitely empty set. They're going to be looking to throw the ball a lot. No, they're not. They're going to run it. They fool us. And Miller on the draw play just misses getting the first down. It's going to be 3rd and inches. Good stop there by our guys. Wes Harper was there. So we got to pack the box, right? We're going to bring the mid blitz here. We're going to try to pack the box, hold them out. They're in the gun, though. So if they pass it, we could be in a bad way. Are they going to pass on 3rd and inches? They are not. They run it, and they get the first down. So Kansas at 0-10. And remember, they almost upset in the last game. They got some momentum. They played Nebraska last week and nearly knocked off Nebraska. So they're not a shove-over team despite their 0-10 records. They almost gets to jump off sides. Completed pass again. That's Luke Henley. That's his first grab of the game. Kansas might be one of the few teams to actually get a touchdown on us in the first quarter. It's been few and far between the teams that actually have scored on this Utah defense in the first quarter, let alone at all. So here come the Jayhawks. Handoff to Henley, and David Richard lit him up. Richard's been a big part of our defense this season. He didn't even make a tackle. That was just an old school, lower the shoulder, drop the guy to the ground. 2nd down and 9. Jayhawks are in field goal range. Were any of you guys expecting this close game early on? Oh boy, that they are going to call the flag on that one. Jumped a little early. Darn it. That's on me. I mistimed that one. That's all on me. Or Andrew Fowler. You can blame it on him. So 2nd and 4 for the Jayhawks. Priority score. Let's see what we got here. And that's not going to go anywhere for Justin Brooks. 53 and 54. A.J. Hill, David Richards making the double tackle there on Brooks. So it's going to be 3rd down and 6 for the Jayhawks. Big opportunity, but I'm sure they'll be happy just to come away with points regardless. But I know they would rather have a touchdown right here. And Brooks is going to heave it. Knocked away. It was nearly intercepted by Trey Bonner. And they will have to settle for the field goal. So Kansas, the freshman kicker, or rather it's a sophomore kicker, Morgan Jones. The freshman is a punter, who is Chris Matthews. But Morgan Jones, the sophomore, puts it through. And again, this is a young squad, so maybe you give them a little bit of time. They're going to come back around and be pretty good. But Kansas gets some points on the board, so it's not a shutout that a lot of people were perhaps expecting. It's 7-3 early on. It is a ball game. There's a contingent of Kansas fans. You see them right there. Made the trip. 0-10, but still supporting the team. Those are true fans right there. SMU definitely making the big claim for the New Year's 6 bid, as they are continuing to roll big and win big at the bottom of your screen there. We can get Bill Bradford going a little bit. Just 12 yards so far on 3 carries. Delayed handoff to Bradford. There we go. Big run by Bradford for 10. Starting to see some Big 12 scores now at the bottom of the screen there. And into the Mountain West, UNLV up. Now to the MAC, Ball State. Good blocking. Bradford almost just didn't have the speed to get through there. Brought down by Chris Williamson. Made that nice tackle. 2nd down and 3. Saw Temple score. That was the team we almost went to. They gave us the job offer and we almost took it. And then we didn't. And then the Utah offer came in just a little bit after that. And well, the rest, as they say, is history. I've never moved up this quickly. It's always, interesting how every season is a little different. I mean, baseball was like that too when we did the road to the shows. Remember we did the closer and he had to go through the whole system. I've done 2 road to the shows where I went right from AA up to the majors. And then we're doing the road to the show with Tom Brady, who's stuck in AAA. For college football, remember my original coach, we had to spend 9 years as an offensive coordinator before we got a head coaching gig. With us, we only spent 2 years. We spent 1 year as head coach of Wyoming. Then we went to Florida State as a defensive coordinator for 1 year. And then we've been the Utah head coach ever since, and never expected this to work out as well as it did. I, honest to goodness, thought Utah would just be a stopover before we went somewhere else. I knew it was a Pac-12 school at the time, but it still is like, it's Utah. But we have, it was after year 2 when we won the national title. It's like, okay, there might be something here. And then we turned that into 3 national championship wins and a bunch of Rose Bowl victories, some Fiesta Bowl wins in there. It's been a decade since we last have not gone to a New Year's 6 bowl. We've pretty much always been in one of the big bowl games. The last time we didn't is when we played the Las Vegas Bowl against the San Jose State Spartans, and that was way too easy. Nick Odom is in for the score. And it is going to be 13-3 Utah. So, the way things are going here, I mean, unless we really slip up, it's going to be another year going to a New Year's 6 bowl game. Potentially the college football playoff, and potentially even the national championship. So we'll see how this all ends up as we keep this going. How much longer do we just keep going with Utah until the new game comes out? Right? Do we retire at some point, or How much longer should we go? And then when we make our new coach in the new game, it's going to be TB the third, right? That's right. Ooh, wow. Early on in the second quarter, 11-point lead here. Ryan Miller. John Miller. Why do I keep saying these names wrong, man? I can't get a grip on it. It's, you know, I'm still mastering the playing and commentating at the same time. With my old YouTube channel, I was editing videos down and commentating after the fact was a lot easier. But now, since YouTube did their deal and we moved over to Twitch, we just commentate while we're playing and then upload the archives to YouTube, and there we go. And hopefully the archives live on forever on YouTube, unless there's a quarterback sack, unless YouTube hears what we're saying about them and how they did us wrong, and and they delete this channel, which would be something. Then you folks will just have to record the archives on your own or something, because there'll be no other way to archive, because Twitch doesn't keep archives. And yeah, so there you go. So anyway, punting it away back to Utah. After a competitive start to this game, you figure one more score here by our guys, and it's going to start to look like what we expected, which was a dominant performance by our guys. Andrew Cross, that was thrown into heavy coverage, and it's knocked away. Want to take a shot into the end zone there. That's a good one. Miami and Georgia Tech is a good one. That's what most people probably rather be watching than 10-0 against 0-10. But there's been a couple of big plays. Marquise Lewis, there's been a couple of plays where Kansas has come and swatted the ball away. So we'll give them credit on defense. They're fighting. They're not letting the records. They don't care about the records. This might as well be week 1, 0-0 against 0-0. The way these guys are going at it. And Zach Smith, welcome to the show here, making another big catch. Second one of the day for him. Hitting the wrong button. We're trying to, my God, because it's different buttons on, now I lost my play. It's different buttons on Madden in this game. Now my play is gone. All right. To flip the play. So that's what I was trying to do. And there you go. WWE 2K22 coming out next month. Still planning on getting the PS4 version, unless I can somehow magically find a PS5 before then. But a lot of people, even like the new Horizons is coming out, and even people are saying that there's really not a difference between the PS4 and the PS5 version. So part of me is like, why am I going to go out and spend all this money on a, you know, 500, 600, 700 bucks on a PS5 that nobody can get? And it seems like the only difference really between the two is loading times. Like, the consoles don't seem that far away. A lot of people looking into the whole PS5 situation where you can't get one anywhere. I've seen a lot of people who are pretty much saying, just wait till like the PS5 Pro comes out. Like, it'll be cheaper. It'll probably be even better. It'll be smaller, and it'll be more readily available. Bill Bradford, touchdown. 3 on the board for the Utes. 3 drive, 3 touchdowns for Utah. Travis Richardson boots it through. We got a studio update. A couple of teams that we played in our last streams. Look at Bolden, 1 of 6. 1 of 6 for a touchdown. Even this game, I mean, this is a last-gen game. The graphics on this don't look awful at all. Like, I don't even think that I'm playing a Xbox 360 game when I'm playing this. So, you know, like, there's really, to me, not a big difference. Like, if it's graphics, you know, as long as we have the cross-platform, which is the biggest thing I was worried about, because I've told those past stories about how I got the old 2K game and then it was like the crappy community creations, then shoot. I know a lot of people are getting excited for the New Horizons game as Brooks intercepted, and this is what we were expecting. I mean, early on it was close, just short of the end zone. It was picked off by Jason Lyles, who got tackled a yard short. So unfortunately for Lyles, he's not going to get the score. And on the Kansas side, what was that, 34 that made the tackle? Yes, it was 34. It's John Miller who made the stop. So now we're starting to see. It was competitive early. I mean, it took us 11 plays to go down and score. Kansas returned the favor with a lengthy drive where they got a field goal, but now it's starting to become the worst college football game in history as 10-0 is starting to run away from 0-10 here at home. Bill Bradford punches in. Look at that. You see that score at the bottom. FIU upset by Troy. So that's going to ruin FIU, who is projected to go to a New Year's Six bowl as one of the ACC representatives. That loss is going to knock them possibly out of contention. They went to a couple of New Year's Six bowls the last couple of years, right? I can look up the stat book on Patreon right now, and we can look that up. That's always my plug for Patreon, that you can look up the history of these things. So I'm going to look up right now FIU because I'm pretty certain. Oh, Game Grumps is playing Animal Crossing today. That's fun. Let's see. Yes, Florida International went to the Peach Bowl last season as the ACC representative at 10-2, losing to Tennessee 48-28. And Brooks will get sacked again. And then the year before that, let's see here. The year before that, FIU did not go to a New Year's Six. So I believe last year was their first foray into the New Year's Six. Let's see. We can keep going back. We got the whole history book here on Patreon. We have no FIU that season. We're going to go back to season 14. Brooks almost intercepted by Ben Jackson. I'm seeing a lot of Bowling Green on here. Got Rice on here. No FIU. So I want to say last season was FIU's first foray into a New Year's Six. And for them, they were hoping to go back again this year. But you slip up and lose to Troy like that, you know, that's going to do away with your chances. Jailbreak screen to John Miller. And that's going to be a very quick 3-and-out to Kansas. Nothing against Troy. I coached Troy to a couple national titles back in another lifetime. But Troy is a Sun Belt. Actually, no, Troy's in the ACC, right? These days, we moved them over. So that was a conference battle, but it's still an upset because Troy hasn't been that great compared to FIU, where they've pretty much been ranked every season. All right, there's a look at Bill Bradford. See if we can get a few more scores on the board here. Hand off to Bradford. A lot of traffic, a lot of heavy traffic, but he still got through for 8.
That makes it 2nd and 2.
Double tight, guys, double tight. 4 down. Check 59. Mike.
2nd down and 2 for the Utes, number 1 in the nation. Bradford tried to bounce outside. Didn't work out there. He got hit hard by Mike Seals, one of the lone seniors on the squad. Bradford should have probably just kept trucking it up the middle there. Let's see. I want to pound the rock again. Go halfback lead.
Side left. 4 down. Check 59. Mike is 59. Mike.
The give to Bradford, and there is your first down. 10 first downs for Utah. There's the give to Bradford. Big opening for Bill Bradford, who, for me, surprisingly, is in the Heisman race. That should probably put him over that 1,000-yard mark. There's other running backs that are closing in on 2,000 yards, but I guess because Bill Bradford has the nation lead in rushing touchdowns, why he's so highly ranked and regarded in the Heisman hunt. He's rated higher than the 2,000-yard rusher in the Heisman picture. So that would be interesting if Bradford. I never got the sense playing this season that I felt Bradford is like the Heisman front runner on this squad. I would have put somebody on our defense to be the Heisman front runner rather than anyone on offense, but that's the way they vote. So third down and 2 quickly here. 3rd and 2. The give to Bradford, bouncing outside, and Bradford is in again. 14 yards on the carry, and now Kansas was trying to shut down the naysayers early on, saying this wasn't going to be the worst game in the history of college football. I mean, we had an 87-0 game earlier, which a lot of people could have said that was the worst game in the history of college football, but it's living up to the hype so far. When you go into it 10-0 against 0-10, this is what you're expecting. It doesn't look like there's going to be any kind of upset on this day unless we get a Michigan State Northwestern situation here or a Buffalo Houston Oilers situation here. So we'll see how Kansas handles things in this next possession. It was working out for him, going with the shotgun every play. And here's going to be a run from Brooks, and Brooks, he ran right into Ben Jackson. We're going to miss Ben Jackson. He's a senior this year. Why Kansas wants to call a timeout and prolong this, I don't know. You see the stats. We have 200 more yards of offense than Kansas does. Second down and 9. They'll go with the jailbreak screen. And actually, if Miller had cut inside instead of rolling outside, he probably would have gotten the first down. But it's going to come down to a 3rd and 3. So that out of bounds will stop the clock. And you know what? We're going to bring the heat. We're going to bring the pressure, try to cause a sack. Maybe they get the first down. I don't know. They're lined up in the gun. They're probably going to throw it. So we got to come in there. Here comes everybody. They do get rid of it. He forces a throw. It's going to be intercepted by Harper, and it's going to be a touchdown. Wes Harper, 41-3 as expected. We might get to 87. I mean, we're on pace for 87. You know, eventually we're going to pull our starters. How many times have we pulled our starters this year? The pressure got too much for Justin Brooks, and he forced one. And now we can rest easy after that opening drive where it's like, boy, it took us 11 plays to score. And, boy, they went right down the field and got a field goal on us. That one is going to be kneeled down, and mercifully, Kansas has to step back out onto the field again. Let's pressure him again. Let's do the same exact play. Let's pressure him, see if we can get another pick six. Don't know what the heck that was, but that was terrible. Only 50% completion percentage for Brooks. We're bringing the heat again. If they keep getting nervous back there. So this could be interesting because we're bringing a corner blitz, so it's going to be all man covered. But if we get there quick enough, and we don't, they get it away, but it's still only would be good for 3 yards. Why don't we just pressure him again, right? I want to pressure him one more time. I'm going to bring the safety blitz. Bring everyone in. Third and 7. They're going to let the time tick all the way down. That's all right. Brooks hit as he throws it off target throw, incomplete, and we got a chance to get one more on the board. We got a whole minute. We got 3 timeouts, folks. We're going to get really good field position, too, on this one. Look at this. Look at the -1 yard after that opening drive where they went right down, got the field goal. -1 yard on the board. Let's just, you know what, we're going to take a shot at it. If it's there, we're going to take the shot. Cross, rolling out. We got one-on-one coverage. Probably could have just run it. Incomplete. Nicely done by Kevin Butler. We tried to take the shot, and they knocked it down. So we'll give them credit where credit's due right there. They're still fighting out there. They could have rolled over. Hey, we had a... Oh, no, we already saw that upset. The Mississippi State upset. We already knew about that. Cross, heaving it up. And Cox was, I don't know if he overthrew Cox or Cox was in the wrong spot or went to IHOP or what, but that was a way off the mark pass. So it's 3rd and 10 quickly. Here, Kansas could force the first punt of the game. We're perfect on 3rd down conversions. And again, I don't know what the heck is happening out there. That was Cox again. We'll take a look at the replay. We're definitely going to punt it. But Cox was wide open. Look at this. And he ran like we had a beat on him and he wasn't paying attention. He runs in the opposite direction. So now we're starting to get a little lazy out there. I'm always of the mindset, don't get lazy, because if we score 42 points in 2 quarters and it's 42-3, they can score 42 points in 2 quarters, and with that extra 3 points, that would give them the lead. So they need to keep playing hard. There's a couple of plays where Jermaine Cox was just running wherever he wanted to run. So that did not work out how we wanted it. We were hoping to get one more score. We're not pulling the guys until we get into the 50s at the least. Brooks, empty set, and just either he's off the mark or he's thrown out of bounds or what, but it is after a decent opening start to this ball game. It has completely gone off the rails for Kansas, and they are 0-10 for a reason, despite the fact that they almost beat Nebraska last week in an upset. Brooks dancing around, and he's going to end up getting sacked. And we're going to take a timeout. That's right. We want one more score. 1 for 6 on 3rd down conversions. We are 5 of 6. And they are just going to run this one. We're going to take one more timeout here to try to get that score back that we didn't get on the last drive. So, yeah. There's the freshman, Chris Matthews, punting this one away. And not much for Newton. So we got one timeout. We got 14 seconds. These are pretty much just going to be heaving it down the field and hoping for the best for the half. Kansas will get the ball to begin quarter number 3. Oh my God. Andrew Cross kills me with his underthrows. That's been the most annoying thing about him all season. Is like, we have a guy, like, my God, he's got a beat on the on the corner, and he underthrows it. Like, he has no arm strength. Supposed to be the highest ranked recruit that we've had. Well, there's some arm strength there, but then Perry's not in the right spot, so that's one thing that this team has not been good at, is the deep passes down the field. We've had some great quarterbacks like Brandon Cox in the past that won the Heisman that could, no problem, just sling the ball down the field, 50, 60-yard passes, no problem. This squad, Andrew Cross, that is not the case. Cross is going to get rid of it, and it's going to be incomplete. So you see how well that worked out. All right, it is 42-3, folks, as we head into the locker room. Kansas and Utah. Number 1 versus, I don't know if there's any other winless team. Is Kansas the only winless team in the league this year. No, Robbins thought about it and he took a knee, so here you go defensively. Most of those 56 yards that you see right there was on that opening drive. After that, it has been a complete shutdown. Looking like the LA Rams against Tom Brady out there. Just anything they do to shut him down. Or Kyler Murray, I can say that, the Cardinals fan. Going for the screen. That's been a couple of times they've tried that, and it's pretty successful. They got 6 out of that.
That'll make it 2nd and 4.
Second down and 4 upcoming. Handoff again to John Miller, and nothing for Miller. His legs got folded under him. Wes Harper, his 5th tackle. 21 carries for Miller. He's gotten the ball a couple of times on the screen. We're going to keep bringing the blitz. Keep blitzing him. Trying to get us to jump. Not happening there. Brooks, pump fake, pump. And he's going to get the first down. Henley, Luke Henley does get the first down. So the first down in quite a long time for the Jayhawks here in this one. Tosses it out of bounds again. There's been more throws out of bounds, I believe, from Justin Brooks than there has been completed. And how bad must Joe Armstrong, who's the senior, the backup quarterback, be if the junior, who's heaving the ball out of bounds on every single play, has been quarterbacking this team all year? Brooks dances, and he runs into a bunch of red jerseys. We had James Kelly, who got the initial hit. Looks like they're going to credit Lee Anderson with making the sack. But I also saw, who else was in there? Anderson was in there. Couldn't get any other numbers, but there's a whole collection of fellas in there. The fellas, the big fellas up front. Brooks. The pass is completed to Alex James, but that's as far as they're going to go. They're getting a good look at Wes Harper. And another punt here for Chris Matthews and the Jayhawks. No good returns yet for Newton, who's been a top kick returner for us. And as soon as I say that, this is going to be one of his better returns as he gets up to midfield for 24. So here we go back on offense. Still a little disingenuous with this offense all season, as they've had their struggles, but we rely on this defense. And Bill Bradford with a 7-yard carry. We just keep running the ball. If we get to the national championship, I don't even try to throw the ball. Another give to Bradford. He's had a nice day today. Put him over 1,000 yards. He's at 110 with those 3 touchdowns. And the Heisman voters seem to like those touchdowns. So as long as he keeps getting them, he might keep going up in the Heisman ranks. Wide open, Nick Odom. It was nearly overthrown by Andrew Cross. Man, Andrew Cross might be one of the worst quarterbacks I've had in my 19 seasons. He's the highest recruited player we've had, but he's just off the money left and right. Not to tear down our own guy, but he is not the reason this team is 10-0. That was a good pass, though. It seems like every time I chastise somebody, they come back with a really good play. We got breaking news here. The Raiders set to hire Dave Ziegler as the new GM. That was the Patriots, I don't know, I guess GM before, but a Patriot coming to Las Vegas. So if you're a Las Vegas Raider fan out there, Ziegler coming to Vegas. One of the Raiders. Wide open right up the middle. That's the school record. Look at that. Rushing touchdowns in a season. And think about the past record-breaking. We read it in the last stream. I'm not going to bother you with all the numbers. Go watch the last stream if you want to see it. But guys like Hayes that we've had 2,000-yard rushers. We've had Heisman Trophy-winning running backs on our team. That was the most rushing touchdowns for one player in school history. And again, saying something considering we have 2,000-yard rushers and Heisman Trophy-winning running backs that have populated this team over the last 17 seasons. Total yards, 69 of them. Not a nice job by Kansas. It is 49-3, and we're leaving the starters in until we get one more score. When we get into the 50s, that's when we'll pull them out. Oh my God, this Justin Brooks off the mark, left and right. I can say what I want to say about Andrew Cross, but I don't have Justin Brooks, who seems like he needs to go to Uncle Rico's football academy for throwing the ball over the mountains or something. He's trying to hit some mountains with some of those throws. Hinley with the reception. Lyles on the stop. Bring the heat again. Another going empty set. But we seem to have more success when we bring the pressure, and we don't. They're all going to be covered. See that? He got nervous again. He got nervous. Brooks goes down. He probably had some wide open guys too, but he got too nervous. Another sack. Some people like watching blowouts. You know, watching blowouts can be a fascinating thing. Maybe this isn't the worst game. Colorado up next. The final game of the regular season. The big rivalry. Don't do a block in the back. Thank God he didn't. Newton gets down to the 40. But yeah, the big rival game. We normally handle Colorado pretty easily. We don't struggle much against them. We've lost just a couple of times to them, like maybe once or twice. But this season, they actually do have a really good record. They are a good team, a decent team, so we can't, you know, and it is a rivalry game. Wide open is Zach Smith, and this is probably going to be another touchdown for Bill Bradford. So, yeah, rivalry games always interesting. You got two solid squads. And then, of course, with this win, that's pretty much going to guarantee our spot in the Big 12 championship game. We don't know if it's going to be number 1 and number 2 yet, but if everyone keeps winning out, it's going to be 12-0. So you're going to go from 0-10 versus 10-0 to a possibility of 12-0 versus 12-0 when Utah and Texas meet in Jerry's World, AT&T Stadium. And now we can officially pull everyone out, which we've done a couple of times this season. That's going to be a big one. And we've been talking about all the hype. This would probably be the big conversation on all the TV, all ESPN leading up to the game is, for the first time, we've only been doing the college football playoffs for 3 years. This will be our 3rd year of doing the 14 playoff. We've never had a situation where two college football playoff teams would play for a conference championship the week before, or not the week before, but you know what I'm saying, like in virtual land, the week before the college football playoff. We've never had it happen. Now, it's obviously happened in real life. We've seen Alabama and Georgia this season play in the college football, in the SEC championship, and the loser of that game still went on to the college football playoff and went on to the national championship. What's going to happen? We haven't had this situation yet in our world. If it's a blowout, does that knock Utah or Texas out if there's another one-loss team like a Penn State that's sitting there that's trying to get in? We have a couple one-loss teams that are just hanging on the edge trying to get into the college football playoff. If it's a close game, does the committee put both teams in? It'll be interesting to see how that one shapes out, but that'll be coming your way. It should be this week. We should be able to play if we keep going strong. We'll do Colorado. I don't know if we'll get to play Colorado tomorrow or not, but at some point this week we'll do the Colorado game. and then the Texas game, and then we'll be on to the playoffs, man. I think it's been an exciting, thrilling year as Brooks incomplete. They just keep going 3 and out. They keep giving the ball right to us.
That'll bring up 4th and 5.
So what else do you guys want to talk about? What games are you playing? Are you guys going to be watching the big conference championship games this weekend? I'm pretty excited. I'm kind of rooting for the Bengals just because they, you always root for the team that hasn't been there in a while. All my teams are long out of the playoffs, so it's not even a thing in my world. Aaron Price. Yeah, this is just going to be a whole lot of running the ball now. In fact, we need to put it on the conservative so we can just drain this clock down because we are truly in garbage time here late in the third quarter. Played handoff to Price. First down by Price. Tackle made by Chris Williamson. So the college football playoff as it stands right now, we are number 1. We've been number 1 all season long. I was a little surprised to see our number 1 ranking. We talked about that on the early streams that were deleted from YouTube. We talked about that as Price gets tripped up. I was really surprised that we ended up number 1 considering all the hype that we had last season, and then we kind of struggled a little bit where we thought we were going to have a big season with our highly ranked quarterback. Didn't happen. We went to the Fiesta Bowl and beat the Ohio State team that was on the verge of getting in the college football playoffs. They just missed out, and I was expecting us to not win that game, get blown out, if you were. We actually blew them out, so I was surprised at that. And then to come into this season ranked number 1, have all the hype behind us, continue to play as well as we have. Hall's actually got some more arm strength, but there was a heavy coverage down the field, so Kansas is going to force a punt here. But we are number 1. Of course, we said here Texas is number 2. Then you got Fresno State, who is number 3. They're playing out of the Pac-16. They've been in the Pacific Conference for a long time. They went to the national championship in the BCS era. Oh, my goodness. I mean, we're not trying to run up the score, but keep giving us gifts. They went to the national championship early on. They were undefeated our first year when we were with Wyoming, and they played extremely well to earn that BCS bid. They didn't win the national championship. I think they played Texas. They might have played. We'd have to look at the stat book on Patreon. I always got to hype the Patreon stat book. But Fresno State went to the big game. They lost, and then they joined the Pac-12. After that, it became the Pac-14 with the introduction of, it was the Pac-13 for a while. Then Boise came over to make it the Pac-14. And it was the Pac-14 for a while, and then when we went to the power conferences, when we went to the college football playoff model, and we moved to the Big 12, that's when it became the Pac-16. Not much rushing room for Aaron Price. So anyway, Fresno State, it's been about 15 years for them, but they're looking to get back into the title picture for the first time in a long time. They've won the national title in baseball before. Hoping to do it in football. And then, of course, the somewhat surprising, the team that's kind of come out of nowhere, but they're out of a power conference, out of the Big East, is USF at number 4. They're 10-0. They've been doing their thing, too. They're looking for their first bid. And this would be the 3rd year that a Big East team would go to the college football playoff. We've never had an SEC team with a record strong enough to get into the college football playoff. Hasn't happened yet. We haven't had a Pac-16 team go to the college football playoff yet. We've only had one team out of the Big Ten, which has been one of the dominant football conferences. It's usually Ohio State. Every year we've had Illinois a couple of years go to the national championship. We've had Wisconsin in there before. So the Big Ten has been a dominant college football conference, but they've only sent Wisconsin so far to the college football playoff. 3rd and goal. Finally, we're going to get in the end zone. That took a lot of effort. Kansas is playing hard, man. They did not want to give up that 60 points. So, yeah, only one team from the Big Ten so far. The MAC has already sent a team. They sent Miami, Ohio as the only undefeated team last season. They got to be number 1, and they played in the New Year's Six the year before that against Miami. It was the Miami Bowl. Miami against Miami, Ohio. And as we said, the ACC has sent 2 representatives. They sent Georgia Tech year 1 and Miami in year 2. The Pac-16 has never sent anyone. The SEC has never sent anyone. And the Big 12 sent us, Utah, in year 1. We were 11-1 that year. And they sent Oklahoma last year, and Oklahoma won it all. There goes Brooks taking off, and he's going to get tripped up by Johnson.
That makes it 2nd and 6.
And in the Big East, they have sent somebody both years, and looking like they're going to send someone again. They sent, in year 1, Army, who ended up going to the national championship, and last year it was Navy, who also went to the national championship. So the Big East, they're 2 for 2, sending teams into the national title game. They've had a lot of teams in the championship game, but the amount of times they actually won the title, very few and far between, and you would see that at the stat book over on Patreon. They've, many, many years, they've sent teams, whether it be Army or Navy. Marshall went before on their behalf. They've sent a lot of teams into the national championship, but the only one that's squeaked out a win was Army the year they played Syracuse in the national championship game. And that was when Syracuse had their foray with the MAC, the Mid-American Conference. They were down on their luck. They went to the MAC. They built their program up, went to a national championship, and then they were able to use that to spin back into the Big East. Brooks taking off. He does not have the speed to try to run. I hate to say it for him.
That brings up 2nd and 13. Armstrong is in at quarterback.
Ready? Check 59. Mike is 59. Mike is 59.
So yeah, Big East on the verge of 3 consecutive years of sending somebody into the college football playoff, as Armstrong will get sacked. You're seeing a lot of the future stars of this Utah Ute squad. Big 12 is almost all but guaranteed to be sending their 3rd consecutive representative. So Brooks is out. That's going to bring in the senior Joe Armstrong, who will come into the game. So the Big East should have 3 representatives if USF wins out. Big 12 will be sending their 3rd representative as things win out. And then it might be the Pac-16 sending their 1st representative in Fresno State. And then who's going to get that final spot? Is it going to be us? Is it going to be the Big 12 sending 2 teams in? The SEC still, the SEC would be the last conference, power conference, to have not sent a team to the college football playoff as we get into year 3 if things end up how it does. Tennessee still has an outside shot of sneaking in. If USF slips up, if Fresno State slips up, that can definitely open the door for Tennessee and for the SEC to get their 1st representative in the mix. So we'll see how things play out. We're going to take a look at all the standings and everything as we finish up this game. We'll look at the bowl projections again, but as you all well know, those are going to change quite significantly when we use the Horizons mod to set up the college football playoff. That play did not work out at all. That play was a favorite play of Andrew Hayes, the Heisman Trophy winning running back that rushed for 2,000 yards for us. He loved that play. Always got a boatload of yards. That did not work out for Aaron Price.
Hey, pick it up, defense. Let's go.
So 3rd and 3, we're going to throw it here. 63-3, your score. Oh man, that was a disaster. Zach Hall. I don't know if we're ever going to see him. The big Navy-USF game has started. If USF beats Navy at number 5, I think that all but... I don't want to say it'll seal it because they still have 2 more games left, but you beat number 5 in the nation like that, that's definitely going to cement people looking at you being like, okay, that's a solid team right there. That's a playoff team right there. It's been a good variety, unlike in real life. Our variety of our college football playoffs have been, if we go to the playoffs, we would be the first two-time college football playoff team. Season 1 was Wisconsin as the 4 seed, Utah, us, as the 3 seed. We had Army as the 2 seed, and Georgia Tech as the 1 seed. And then last season, of course, all this again is in the stat book on Patreon. Look up the Utah stat book, and you'll be able to check that out over on Patreon. But last season, it was the 1 seed, Miami, Ohio, at 12-0. That was the big shocker, and I even contemplated. I was like, man, you know, because I have the power. I can put whatever 4 teams in the playoff that I want. And I kind of did that with year 1 when Wisconsin was technically ranked 13th. But of all the conference champions, they were 10-2. And there were no other conference champions that had a record as good as them. And the 4, I don't even remember who the 4 seed was that season. But the 4 seed also had 2 losses. So it's like, why am I going to not put in a conference champion from the Big Ten at 10-2? So I bumped them up from 13 to number 4 because I thought that was only right. And there were no other teams with 2 losses that had a conference title to their name like Wisconsin did. Last season, yeah, I played around with that. I was like, man, should they really be there? The game ranked them number 1, but they were the only undefeated team. I gave them a shot. They got beat up by Oklahoma, so it wasn't pretty, but it is what it is. But yeah, it was Miami, Ohio, Navy, Miami, and Oklahoma last season. And this season, as it stands right now, Utah, Texas, Fresno State, and USF. So another big mix of good variety of teams. That's what the people love. So out of 3 college football playoffs, we would have 11 different teams that will have made the big dance. And that's if we win out. If we struggle, boy, if we lose to Colorado, if we lose to Texas, I don't think we're getting into the playoff. If we get beat, if this is the score, Texas 63, Utah 3, I don't think we're getting into the college football playoff. Kiss that goodbye. As Kansas, meanwhile, is trying to get a touchdown on the board desperately, which would be only the 6th team, I think, this season to score a touchdown. Well, actually, this wouldn't even count. Our starters still haven't given up a touchdown because these are the backups. We'll have to go through the whole rigmarole again. Armstrong, out of bounds, incomplete. For our starting defense, it's only been 5 teams that have scored a touchdown against us. And we're coming up on game 12, which is amazing. The touchdowns we've given up are either the backups, like this scenario here, or it was a defensive pick 6, like in the Nebraska game. And we're going to go through the schedule again, but it was Utah State week 1. They got the early touchdown, that first drive, got the touchdown. TCU got 3 touchdowns, and Air Force got 3 touchdowns. Look at that, USF 4 for 4. McConnell, they're up 7-0 here. 9-1 versus 10-0. That's a big time game right there. And if Navy wins that one, I don't know why you go for the onside kick at this point. Oh my God, they got it back. Well, there you go. If Navy wins that game, that's going to put them for a chance to go back to the college football playoff. So everything's heating up in the college football season as we get down the stretch. But yeah, it was Utah State, TCU, Air Force, and then there's only one. Arkansas got a touchdown on us, but that was late, wasn't it? That was with the backups in. I think only like 5 teams have scored a touchdown against our defense. Knocked away by Dan Williams.
James was the intended receiver on the play. That brings up 3rd and 10.
So going for the onside kick just to have a little bit more pain as this goes on. Incomplete. Well, it might as well go for it on 4th down at this point. We went for the onside kick. They're going to punt it for whatever reason. I say just go for it. That was as bad as advertised. 10-0 versus 0-10. You know, we're just going to fair catch it, and we're going to call it a day. 63-10, Utah winning this one. We go to 11-0. Kansas will drop to 0-11. And you see what Bill Bradford did. 5 rushing touchdowns. That's going to make the Heisman hype train grow even louder for him, as he has broke the school rushing record for touchdowns. And we still have at least potentially 4 games left to go with the season finale, the conference championship, and possibly 2 college football playoff games. So here you go. We'll look at some of the early scores. Look at these highlights here. Remember that one early. That was when we were struggling to kind of move the ball, but we made that nice play. And then after that, it was all said and done. You see the nice running of Bradford, who was able to easily get into the end zone. Big openings up the middle. Couple of pick six. Wes Harper had one right there. That was when we were putting the pressure on Justin Brooks. And some photos. What's going to be our thumbnail? Which one of these is the best? How about that one? He looks like he's in pain. No, we got to get maybe that one. That one looks kind of good. Probably. I like seeing both the teams on there. Oh, we got big breaking news. More breaking news here. Breaking news. I think this is kind of big because this guy has been out there since his time in Denver as like the next great head coach, and he just never went out there and tried it again. But it's happening. The Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders, not only have they hired the GM from the New England Patriots, they have hired Josh McDaniels to be their new head coach. Josh McDaniels, head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. A chance to go back to the AFC West. How old is Josh McDaniels these days? Because he was pretty young when he was coaching the Broncos, and he sat out a long time. He is 45. He was the head coach of the Broncos in 2009, 2010, and then he was the Patriots coordinator from 2012 to 2021. So for 10 years, he went back to New England as an offensive coordinator after trying it out as a head coach. There you go. USF, they knock off Navy. They put up 35. And Ohio State upset by Indiana. So that might kill Ohio State's chances at getting into the college football playoff. It almost certainly will. And USF, they are putting a stamp. They put their flag in that we should be in the college football playoff with that win. 4 yards rushing for Kansas. It was all ugly. The player of the game for Kansas was John Miller, who had 32 yards rushing and a touchdown. Not great. All right, let's see what happens here. Beating the monster. That's right. 11-0. We have made it to this point here. As we are going to sim forward, we are going to wrap up. We'll look at some bowl projections and where everyone stands. And we got the last game of the season, the Colorado game, the rivalry game. Should be interesting. They are a good team this year. Normally when we play them, it's us beating them up, but they're coming into this one with 9 wins. They should be coming into this one at. What do you guys think? Josh McDaniels going to the Las Vegas Raiders. Leave your comments down below. Is this going to be different? As a Broncos fan, I kind of wanted to see how... I mean, he gave us a 6-0 season at one point, and he lost it, but we were 6-0 at one point, and I wanted to see what he was going to do with Tebow, what he was going to do with Orton. And, you know, the things turned out how they did. The Broncos were quick to get rid of him, but I kind of always wanted to see how that would have played out as a Broncos fan. Now, Josh McDaniels, 10 years older, 10 years wiser. He's going to go at it again in the West. So leave your comments down below. What do you think about that? And the fact that the Raiders are stocking up on these Patriot folks. Look at this, Billy Lyles. That is he the older brother or the younger brother of the cornerback Lyles. That's going to be a big recruit there. He's a 78 already, which means he's only going to get better and better. So we've lost a good amount of recruits here, but we got one big one, so let's, you know, what the heck. Hey, we're Coach of the Year finalists. That's what I like to see. Let's look at things. We're gonna wrap this one up as it's an hour away before the Chiefs and the Bengals kick off. 7-4 Colorado. So again, not completely out of it. And they got a good rushing offense as well, but look at all our number ones on the board. We're a good squad. The only thing we're terrible at is our rush offense, even though we got the Heisman leading running backs, so go figure. Again, Aaron Cross, nothing special to write home about, but more touchdowns than interceptions. We'll take that all day. Bradford over 1,000 yards rushing. And you see Colorado, they lost to Nebraska. They got blown out by Nebraska, so hopefully we can make that happen. They also got beat by Kansas State. They lost to Cal, and they got whooped by Missouri. For us, I mean, it's been good. We got in the 50s 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times this season, which is excellent. This game, no, Air Force didn't score against us. Who was I thinking that got points, that got touchdowns? Oh, BYU. I kept saying Air Force. So 1, 2, 3. This was the pick 6. This was the score late. I think only 4 teams might have scored on our starting defense. I don't remember if Arkansas, I think our starters might have still been in against Arkansas, but Utah State went down the field, they drove, and they got the touchdown early on. TCU got 3 touchdowns, BYU got 3 touchdowns. Nebraska was a pick 6. Arkansas scored on us, but I don't remember if our starters were in or not, and these two were definitely with the starters being out of the game. I think if the starters were in, this probably would have been 2 shutouts right here. But not remembering how... Can I click on it? I can't click on it. I'm not going to go... Oh, God. It was just going to jump right into the game. I don't remember. I'm not going to go dig into it right now. But I want to say... At the very least, going into Game 12, only 4, maybe 5 teams have scored a touchdown on our starting defense. Only 2 teams have scored more than 1 touchdown on our defense. That's pretty amazing. 7, 0, 3, 24, 0, 24, and then 13, which one was a pick 6, so technically 3. A garbage time touchdown late, technically 3. 0, late touchdown. So take away the late garbage time touchdowns on backups. This is 3, 0, 0. This would be 6, because they would have gotten 2 field goals. Yeah, 6. 24. I'll give them 24, because these were competitive. 24, 20. It's just amazing how well this defense has played. Single digits most of the way when we got Colorado to round up. So let's see where all we stand. We are going to look at the conference standings and see how the college football playoff is shaping up. And that's just our standings there. We want slow way down here. Well, let's look at the Heisman Watch first. So we know it's guaranteed. There's no way it's not going to be Utah and Texas in the Big 12 championship. And Bill Bradford still leading the way for the Heisman. It shocks me. Only 1,000 yards rushing compared to other guys that have over 2,000 yards rushing on the year. But I mean, you can look at the numbers here. He's 36 in terms of rushing. There's guys that are way ahead of him, but they got him up high in the Heisman hunt. This is a glitch, by the way. It always has the tackle leaders being guys from your team because they count half tackles as full tackles on the stats, so these are always incorrect. The sack leaders, though, I mean, Kelly and Harper, what can you say about that? I mean, leading the way. Those are accurate. We've always had good pass rushers. And Lyles, 6 interceptions, so pretty good. So let's look at, we'll just get the awards when we get them. I mean, I think for at least coaching, we were in the hunt. Oh, did they even tell you? Well, We can look at our trophy case real quick. How many trophies we've won over our time here. You can see our national titles, the one with Florida State, and the 3 we've won with Utah. ACC, who was that with? Oh yeah, that was when we were coach of Florida State, duh. When we coached them for a year. I was like, wait a minute. And then our Pac-12 title, all of our, or a Big 12, and then all of our Pac-12 titles from our time. You can see they're all lined up there. Bowl awards, Alamo Bowl, our Fiesta Bowl, 3 Vegas Bowls, 3 Rose Bowls, the Poinsettia Bowl there. Rivalry trophies, of course, the boots that we got. And there's our 2 Heismans that we won. There's Kevin Haynes that we saw, that, as we said, 2,000-yard rusher. And Cox there, who went on to play with my Detroit Lions in Madden 12, where we eventually won the Super Bowl. So our 2 Heisman winners, Coach of the Year 3 times. We're trying to close in on a 4th Coach of the Year. Man, remember some of these old guys. There's Kevin Hayes again, the Doak Walker that year. Returner of the Year. We've won a bunch of those, huh? We always have good kick returners. Ryan Clay, remember him? Oh my God, we can probably just get like a whole history of our old guys there, just by going through a returner. I think we've won Returner of the Year every year. Bunch of Lombardis in there too. But I think those are a little skewed because, again, they count all the tackles. Place Kicker Award, and we got 1 Groza Award winner. Robert Aguayo, that's right. That was when, that's right. That was with us coaching Florida State. We got that trophy there. Oh, what's happening? I've lost my cursor. Oh my God, we're glitching out. Okay, I better get out of this before the game crashes. It can't handle it. But anyway, let's keep going here. We've been good with no like major injuries this year either, which has been great. So let's go to the rankings, and then we'll do the bowl projections, and then we will end this stream. So everything stays the same. 4 undefeateds, 4 playoff spots. Utah, Texas, USF, and Fresno still winning. Penn State, I don't know how they're ranked under Iowa, but they are. Penn State hoping someone slips up. Penn State might be, I don't know, they could make a claim now. If they win the Big Ten and they finish at 12-1, and either of us, Utah or Texas, get blown out in the Big 12 championship, Penn State might be sitting there much like Wisconsin was, holding the Big Ten championship, saying, hey, are you going to let a non-conference champion with a matching record get in the BCS playoff, or are you going to let us in, who has a conference title? That's, yeah, there's really no other contenders other than, I mean, it's this 4. You have Penn State, maybe. If somebody really slips up, you have a Georgia Tech who's been there before. I can see the committee giving them another run. Navy, maybe, but they, you know, have lost to USF. And then you have Tennessee, maybe Tennessee. Yeah, but again, someone's majorly got to slip up. But, I mean, it's really Tennessee, Georgia Tech, and Penn State at this point that's looking for somebody to slip up that might get into the playoffs. Other than that, I don't see anybody that's getting close. SMU is most likely going to be your New Year's 6 representative, because I don't see anybody else that's close to their record of 9-1. So SMU would be going to a New Year's 6 bowl game. If they slip up, I don't even know, like, who else. Let's look at the conference standings for them. If they were to slip up, SMU, who would get that New Year's 6 spot? Is there anyone that's even in contention? In the Sun Belt? No. I mean, FAU maybe, but boy, the Sun Belt's pretty miserable right here. In the Mountain West, there's nobody. In the MAC, Temple at 8-2, they're undefeated in the conference play. And there's nobody from Conference USA. So I'd say if SMU slips up out of the group of 4, your best bet might be FAU or Temple of sending somebody to a New Year's 6 game. And finally, we'll look at the bowl projections again, but again, take it with a grain of salt, because that's all going to change once we run the Horizons app through here. FAU right now projected to go to the blue turf, playing Boise. I took them to that game before when I coached them back in another world. You see some different bowl matchups than what we saw the first time we went through everything. So some little bit of changes here. Minnesota still hoping to get into a stronger game with their 8-3 record. Army and UTSA, Armed Forces. That'd be a good one. Big 12 versus Big 10. Buffalo Wild Wings, Miami and Alabama, Clemson and Boise in the Sun Bowl. That'd be a Pac-16 and ACC top 25 battle. Southern Miss and SMU, which is SEC, but Southern Miss would move up to a New Year's Six bowl game. This obviously is going to be one of the college football playoff games, and I think it's going to be the 2 and 3 because it goes by proximity to school, and if Utah or Texas wins the Big 12 championship, they're going to be undefeated, and they would go to the Fiesta Bowl. I never looked up how close Texas is to Atlanta, but I think Texas going to Arizona is a little closer. But well, here, let's look it up. Let's look it up right now. Let's Google Maps this. University of Texas to Glendale AZ maps. So Texas to Glendale is 14 hours, about 1,000 miles, and Atlanta, GA, and go. Why is it fighting me on Atlanta, GA? Okay. So again, 14 hours, 1,000 miles from the University of Texas to go to Glendale. And to go to Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, it's actually shorter. It's about 100 miles shorter. It's only a 13-hour trip, so it's 1 hour less, and it's 928 miles. So if Texas wins out, then maybe they would go to the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. So it would be Texas and presumably USF going at it in that bowl game. However, if we win, then it would be Utah and USF in the Fiesta Bowl. And most likely scenario probably would be Texas, because I don't think they want to do an immediate rematch. It would be Texas slipping into the 3 seed, and they would be taking on Fresno State in the... So I think either way, Texas would probably be going to this bowl game, because there's no way... Because if Texas wins and they're the 1 seed, they'd be going to this bowl game. If Texas loses, then Utah's the 1 seed, and we'd be going to the Fiesta Bowl. So either way, I think Texas is pretty much a lock, unless they completely collapse this week and next week and end up with 2 losses. Texas should be going to this game. It's a matter of, are they going to be playing USF as the 1 seed, or are they going to play Fresno as the 3 seed? So that should put that one into contention there. The Rose Bowl, Georgia Tech and Iowa, 2 teams that are hoping for a slip-up and to maybe get into the college football playoff. The Fiesta Bowl, it would be us taking on USF, or if we slip up, then we would go to the 3 seed, and it would be Fresno State hosting the Fiesta Bowl against us. So I think either way, we're getting Fresno or USF. That is if everyone wins out. A lot can still happen. But it's looking like we would pretty much be locked into Fiesta, and Texas going to Atlanta, and depending on how those shape up is who goes where. Notre Dame and Tennessee, that'd be a good Sugar Bowl. Penn State and Navy would be a really good Orange Bowl with those squads. The Cotton Bowl is seeing Florida at 6-5. I don't know. I might make some modifications to that one because I have the power. I might put maybe Minnesota or somebody in that Cotton Bowl, because Florida at 6-5. I don't know. But USC, Maryland, Temple, UAB, and then, of course, the granddaddy of them all. Thank you guys for joining us here today. We're going to call it a day. Be sure to join us for our Colorado game, the season ender, and we're going to catch you guys next time. Don't forget to subscribe. Give us a follow on Twitch, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Patreon, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for stopping in.